The small state of Kerala has contributed richly to the science and heritage of India. Thiruvananthapuram, the capital city of God's own country Kerala, is the abode of Lord Sri Padmanabha, apparently the richest god in the world. Referred as the greenest city in India by Mahatma Gandhi, Tirunal
You see it on the full screen. We are not able to see it on the full screen of the computer.
apart from its natural beauty and rich culture. At the heart of the city, Sree Chitra Institute stands tall in the prestigious Medical College campus.
In 1972, our last Maharaja Chitra Tirunal, that was his Shashtapta 60th birthday. So the royal family wanted to celebrate, and they decided to build a specialty hospital block in Medical College campus. Achyuthamanan was our chief minister here. And he had already put this hospital building as a Chitra Medical Center, as it was called. So why not make it into specialties hospital for cardiology, neurology, for which we had hardly any facilities in Kerala. And this also helped us in the sense that the concept, medicine and technology, if you bring it together under one roof, you can produce very impressive results.
Sree Chitra is an autonomous institution of national importance, catering to students within India and abroad.
I am Dr. Shafiq, foreign student from Maldives in the institute. I had done my DM cardiology training in the institute 10 years back, and at present I am doing postdoctoral fellowship in cardiac electrophysiology. I have found the teaching to be of high standard, and that's why after 10 years I am again here in the institute undergoing training in EP under a world-class team. My training here has immensely benefited my country in terms of mortality reduction in acute coronary syndrome, setting high standards for healthcare in the country, and especially gaining trust in cardiology services in the country.
Hello everybody, I'm Dr. Gausia Mukhtar. I'm proud to belong to the beautiful valley. Always I wanted to be here because it was a central institute, and I must say after coming here, it has been a great experience overall. And there was great learning. I have learned a lot from the faculty here, from the excellent faculty of Chitra, and I'm actually thankful that they provided me an opportunity to be here. It has been a great experience, especially we get to see many patients of congenital heart disease, and I'm actually learning a lot from here, and I hope that it keeps getting better. Thanks.
Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology consists of the hospital wing, the biomedical technology wing, and the public health division. The hospital is a tertiary care center for catering diseases of the heart, the vascular system, thoracic, and the neurological system. Along with the patient care, where we have got a 250-bedded hospital, we also conduct super specialty courses in all the above mentioned specialties. We have got the DM courses for the medical sciences department like cardiology and neurology, and MCH courses for the surgical specialties like cardiac surgery and neurosurgery. Along with this, we have got the DM courses in the Department of Anesthesia and the Department of Imaging Science and Interventional Radiology. Also, we admit PhD students in the Cellular and Molecular Cardiology Department and Pathology Department and Biochemistry Department. We also have an MD course in Transfusion Medicine in the Blood Bank Technology. This year, because of the COVID pandemic, though every year we were having the entrance exam conducted in the hospital, this year it was an all India virtual entrance exam, and we found it much easier to get candidates from all over India. Because of the COVID pandemic, the number of cases that are coming for our primary care have come down drastically, but even then, considering other diseases also, along with COVID, that is prevalent in the community, we basically operate as a non-COVID hospital catering to diseases of the heart.
The Biomedical Technology Wing of Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology consists of a team committed to medical device development, research, and training. Our broad areas of activities are biomedical devices, biomaterials, tissue engineering, device evaluation, biomedical business incubation, and commercialization.
The Achyuta Menon Center for Health Science Studies is the health sciences wing of SCTIMST. The main objective of AMC HSS is to train health professionals in health research and in the formulation of health policies. The AMC offers an international master's in public health and a state-of-the-art PhD program.
As I have mentioned in a couple of meetings earlier, all the candidates who are admitted in Chitra, I consider them as a kite. And as they progress in their studies, we let loose of the string more and more, and they reach higher and higher levels in their capacity and ability. And at the end of the course, we give them the graduation degree and cut the string off so that they can fly higher and higher. I consider all the passing out graduates as the flag bearers of Chitra. You are allowed to move into the society and attain higher and higher levels so that becomes laurels to your parent institute, Sree Chitra. Wish you all the best.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and a warm welcome to the annual Convocation ceremony of the 37th batch of Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, Trivandrum. Considering the ongoing pandemic situation across the globe, the convocation is held in a virtual mode this year, and we thank you all for your cooperation. All the dignitaries and guests are joining online. To begin this auspicious ceremony, may I invite Dr. Jissa VT to invoke the Almighty.
Ya kundendu tusharahara tapana Ya shupravatravruta Ya veena paradanda manditakara Ya Shweta Padmasana Ya Brahma Chuta Shankara Prakriti Devai Sada Vandita Samapadu Saraswati Bhagavati Nishesha Jadhyapaha.
May I now request our Honorable Director, Professor K. Jayakumar, to welcome the gathering and present the report of the Institute.
Good evening. Honorable President of the Institute, Dr. V.K. Saraswat, our Chief Guest, Dr. Samya Swaminathan, Eminent Guest of Honor, Dr. K. Mohandas, Dean of Academic Affairs in charge, Dr. C. Keshav, Head BMT Wing, Dr. Harikrishna Verma, distinguished guests, our graduates and their families, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. My task today is, I'm dividing it into three. One is to welcome the chief guest and the other people participating in this meeting. Secondly, comes from a few words to the passing out graduates. And lastly, I'll be presenting the academic affairs. A hearty welcome to all of you on this very proud and joyous occasion of the 37th annual convocation of the Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology, Trivandrum. This vital event is a celebration of the academic achievements of our senior residents, PhD scholars and students. 162 of them successfully completed their course and will be conferred higher degrees today. On this memorable occasion, I join our guests and the entire Chitra fraternity in conveying our heartiest congratulations to each one of you, your families, your teachers, your guides, and your mentors. Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology is a unique blend of academic excellence in advanced super specialty and clinical research training. Basic and applied research aimed at developing medical technologies, health science research, and interventions that impact public health policies of the state and central government. This year, we have the largest turnout of graduates for the convocation, not only from our institute, but also from the institutions which run our affiliated MPH and PhD programs. These are the National Institute of Epidemiology, Chennai, Christian Medical College, Vellore, Indian Institute of Public Health, New Delhi, and Indian Institute of Information Technology and Management, Kerala. Inspire and enlighten our young graduates, we have here with us great personalities who are upholding very high values throughout their journeys. This auspicious event of conferment of degree will be presided over by Dr. Vijay Kumar Sasat, the President of the Institute and governing body, and Chancellor of this institute, which has the powers and status of an university. An outstanding scientist, his contributions to the science and engineering of our nation are countless. He has served as the Director General of the Defense Research and Development Organization and as Chief Scientific Advisor to the Defense Ministry. In appreciation of his contribution to the society, Dr. Saraswat was conferred the Padma Bhushan by the Government of India. It is my great pleasure to welcome our Honorable President, Dr. Saraswat, to this function. Welcome, sir. Dr. Samya Swaminathan, Chief Scientist, World Health Organization, and former Secretary DHR and DG ICMR, is an eminent pediatrician and clinical scientist known for her work in tuberculosis and HIV. He held postdoctoral fellowship in pediatric pulmonology at the Children's Hospital, Los Angeles, Keck School of Medicine at the University of South California. She is elected Foreign Fellow to the US National Academy of Medicine and is a fellow of all the 3 science academies in India. She has previously served WHO and global advisory bodies and committees, including the WHO expert panel to review global strategy and plan of action on public health, innovations, and intellectual property, the strategic and technical advisory group of the global TB development at WHO, and co-chair of the Lancet Commission in TB. We are extremely privileged to have you with us, madam, today, and I extend to you a very warm welcome. Dr. K. Mohandas is not a new face for the Chitra fraternity. He is a former director and professor of anesthesia department. He is the founder vice chancellor of the Kerala Health and Allied Sciences University. He is a postgraduate in anesthesiology from Christian Medical College, Vellore, and he took his MD from Medical College, Mysore. He joined Sree Chitra in 1976 and took over as the institute director in 1994. Recognizing his professional academic research contributions to anesthesiology and his role in raising the profile of the specialty, the Royal College of Anesthetists of the UK conferred FRCA on him, the first Indian to receive the honorary fellowship. It is a great honor for the institute to have you today here, and may I extend a very warm and hearty welcome to you, sir. I would also like to extend my warm welcome to all the IB and GB members, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends of the institute and the media. Now, dear students, you all could not have asked for a more stranger time to pass out from this prestigious institute. Yes, the world has changed and is no longer the world that we know of. I would like to let you know that times have been stranger in the past and will be so in the future also, because change is only constant in this world. So remember, change brings new challenges, but also along with it more unique opportunities. How do we face these difficult times? In my opinion, what has worked in the past will continue to work in the future also. Learn, listen, and improvise. All of you would find yourself in new places, situations, and circumstances once you go out of the institute. Develop the ability to learn and filter. Build up your situational awareness. At no time in human history have we found ourselves surrounded by so much of information as in the current times. Learn to use this information available for the benefit of yourself and your patients. Keep yourself updated on your specialty, but also maintain a limited working knowledge of other core specialties. Improvise and survive. Improvise for the moods of the time. Dream, imagine, and succeed. All of you should learn to dream and dream big. Your dreams may be a reality in the future. Focus on these dreams and convert your dreams into your goals. Compartmentalize your goals and challenges yourself to achieve these goals, step by step, day by day, one by one. Once you achieve these dreams, again, imagine your success in motivating yourself. Do not equate your success to material gains. Success in our field relates to peer value and professional satisfaction. Coming to loss, failure, and sadness. Certain things in life are inevitable. You all may face failure. Failure is something that we may all have to face not only once, twice, no, many, many times. There may be occasions when you find yourself emotionally burdened and sad. Dear students, try to embrace your losses, wear them as failures, all your failures as badges or as battle scars with honor. These badges or battle scars show that you have attempted to and you dare to take the road less traveled. Humility, empathy, and legacy. Our values, our values and culture are what keeps us together. We need to cultivate and mature them and propagate them. Learn to empathize with your patients. Not all treatment modalities will succeed. Remain humble to your greatest victories and defeats. At times, time will come when there will be others who will look forward to you. Remember, you need to mentor them and take them to the next level. Build your legacy, but let that not be stumbling blocks to others. Become a stepping stone to future generation and the greater good of mankind in focus. It is now my present duty to present a snapshot of the academic and R&D activities of the Institute during the last 1 year. As you all know, Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Science and Technology offers excellent research opportunities and advanced training in super specialties and subspecialties of cardiac and neurosciences. In addition, we also offer PhD in biomaterial science and technology, bioengineering, chemical and physical science, life sciences, medical sciences, health sciences, MTech in clinical engineering, MPhil in biomedical technology, and various postgraduate diploma programs. In addition, we have affiliated program of Master of Public Health, Master of Science, Bioengineering, PhD in Biomedical Sciences, and PhD in Public Health. In the last year, 137 candidates were offered admission to various programs, including affiliated programs. The total strength of students on the rolls of the Institute was 536 as on March 2021, including the affiliated program. About 1.11 lakh patients were treated as IP and OP in the last 1 year in this 253-bedded hospital. About 4,000 surgeries and around 1,400 advanced interventional procedures were performed. Considering the COVID-19 scenario, SCTIMST has started telemedicine service in our outpatient department. This significantly reduced the need for patients and caregivers to come to the hospital for review. This also reduced the crowd in the outpatient department. During the last year, we published 328 scientific publications in various international journals with an average impact factor of 3.496. A total of 32 awards were received by our faculties and our students. Several publications from the Institute were also the outcome of the hard work of the DM, MCH, and PhD students, which testifies to the research training the students receive from this institute. Coming to some personal gains, Dr. K.P. Unnikrishnan, Professor of Cardiac Anesthesia, was certified as Fellow of American Society of Echocardiography, FASC. Dr. Sree S. Nair, Associate Professor, Department of Neurology, was awarded Fellowship of the Royal College of Physicians, Edinburgh. An international agency, Expertscape, that objectively ranks medical experts and institutions worldwide, ranked the Cardiac Electrophysiology Division of Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute as the 9th leading center in the world in terms of expertise in this field. SCT was the only center from India to secure a place in the first 100 institutions at the international level. The Division of Cardiac Electrophysiology started a comprehensive device arrhythmia clinic for a systematic and comprehensive evaluation of patients with cardiac devices and complex arrhythmias. Dr. Shailija P.N., Professor of Neurology, was selected as the expert member of the Global Burden of Cardiovascular Diseases and Stroke Working Group. Dr. Ramshekhar Menon, Additional Professor of Department of Neurology, has completed a Commonwealth Medical Fellowship in Pediatric Epilepsy from Great Ormond Street Hospital for Children, London. The Comprehensive Care Center for Movement Disorder of the Department of Neurology organized the 5th Annual Conference of the Movement Disorder Society of India. Department of Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery is all set to launch the clinical trial of PTK Chitra prosthetic heart valve 2nd generation. The 1st generation valve has already been successfully implanted in more than 150,000 patients. The Department of Imaging Science and Interventional Radiology of the Institute hosted online annual scientific meeting of Indian Society of Neuroradiology with the national and international faculty. Dr. Ishwar, head of the Department of Neurosurgery, was awarded the Karma Shrestha Award. Dr. Jayendra Sudhir from Department of Neurosurgery performed the first successful superficial temporal artery internal cerebral artery anastomosis using a bridge graft, the first thing in India. And Dr. Prakash Nair introduced the trans-endoscopic approach for orbital tumors. The team from Microbiology and Biochemistry Department were selected as the mentor institute by ICMR for the state of Kerala, Union Territory of Lakshadweep, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands to set up molecular diagnostic laboratories for RT-PCR in all government and private medical colleges. The molecular diagnostic laboratory in the Department of Microbiology was upgraded for doing RT-PCR for COVID-19 with augmented technical support from the National Health Mission. Dr. Devashish Gupta, Professor and HOD of Transfusion Medicine, became the executive member of the Chemovigilance Program of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. Dr. Baiju Soman, Professor, H.S. Menon Center, took over as the editor-in-chief of the International Journal of Healthcare Education and Medical Informatics. Dr. T.V. Anil Kumar, Department of Experimental Pathology, was awarded fellowship from the Royal College of Pathologists based on the merit of his publications in toxicological pathology. Dr. Manju S., Scientist D, Division of Dental Products, won the prestigious Har Gobind Khurana Innovative Young Biotechnologist Award 2020. Dr. Jayashree has been elected as the Fellow of the Academy of Sciences, Chennai. The accreditation by NABL, National Accreditation Board of Testing and Calibration Laboratory, has granted 3 physiochemical tests at Central Analytical Facility of the Biomedical Technology. The Institute signed MOU with many companies and industries such as Tainor Orthotics Private Limited Mohali, N Products Private Limited Kochi, Biorad Medicines Private Limited Pune, Biogenics Incorporated Private Limited Lucknow for the development of various technologies. Many activities were conducted for the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe communities, including training program in intellectual property rights and its significance, PDF fellowships, summer fellowships, undergraduate and postgraduate training program are a few of them. The institute faculty were granted 12 Indian and 1 foreign patent during the last 1 year. A total of 52 Indian patents and 17 foreign patents were filed. A total of 8 designs and 7 trademarks were registered. Our institute participated in the prestigious India International Science Festival 2020 organized by the Ministry of Science and Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. The institute organized and coordinated the first open day in the history of BMTV on 6th March 2020. Labs were open to the public. So the students from schools and arts and science colleges and engineering colleges, over 1,000 of them, participated in this function. Before I conclude, I would like to express my gratitude to the Government of India for the support of all our development activities. We are indebted to Dr. Ashutosh Sharma, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, for his constant encouragement and guidance which we are receiving every day. Lastly, the fresh graduates of Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science are the torchbearers of the rich tradition of this institute. They are expected to converse the high professional passion, culture from Sree Chitra, and thereby enhancing the reputation of Sree Chitra to even higher levels. We wish you all the very best. Before I end my speech, I would like to say the last few lines of the poem Invictus. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Vijay Kumar Saraswat, Honorable President of our Institute and member Niti Aayog, to declare the convocation ceremony open.
Now declare the annual convocation of the 37th batch of Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology open.
Thank you, sir. We will now commence the conferment of the degrees. The department heads will now present the graduates from their departments.
I now request Professor Thomas Koshi, Head, Department of Anesthesiology, to present the graduates from his department.
Good evening to all. I am proud to present the following graduates from the Department of Anesthesiology. 4 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of DM Cardiothoracic and Vascular Anesthesia. Dr. Nityanandan P. Dr. Murugendran GJ. Dr. Devarakonda Bhargava Venkata. Dr. Vasant K. Three graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of DM Neuroanesthesia. Dr. Neeraja Ajayan. Dr. Nagamurti Silpa Vikas Rao. Dr. Thakar Keta Deepak. 2 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the postdoctoral certificate course in cardiothoracic and vascular anesthesia. Dr. Sharmila S. Dr. Meera Rajiv. 1 graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral certificate course in neuroanesthesia. Dr. Etsa Davis. May I request the Honorable President to award the degrees and certificates to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Professor K.M. Krishnamurthy, Head, Department of Cardiology, to present the graduates from his department.
Good evening. I am proud to present the following graduates from the Department of Cardiology. 2 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of DM Cardiology. Dr. Avinash Mani, Dr. Srishti Vala, one graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship in cardiac electrophysiology from the Department of Cardiology. Dr. Sridhar D. One graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship in pediatric cardiology from the Department of Cardiology. Dr. Harikrishnan K. N. May I request the Honorable President to award the degrees and fellowships to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I request Dr. Vivek V. Pillai, Officiating Head, Department of Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery, to present the graduates from his department.
Good evening. I am proud to present the following graduates from the Department of Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery. 7 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of MCH Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery. Dr. Manfred Fernando, JXA. Dr. Sree KB. Dr. Shivang Saxena. Dr. Sai Suraj Kotera. Dr. Shravanti Ponnulu. Dr. Samir MD. Dr. Nagananda L. One graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the degree of MCH Vascular Surgery. Dr. Vineet Kumar PM. One graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral certificate course in vascular surgery. Dr. Neelam Jingba Sun. One graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship in adult cardiac surgery. Dr. Atul Ibrahim. May I request the Honorable President to award the degrees, certificate and fellowship to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now request Professor Bijoy Thomas, Head, Department of Imaging Sciences and Interventional Radiology, to present the graduates from his department.
Good evening. I am proud to present the following graduates from the Department of Imaging Sciences and Interventional Radiology. 2 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of DM Cardiovascular Imaging and Vascular Interventional Radiology. Dr. Ajay Alex, Dr. Bhartapillai Mahesh Reddy. 2 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of DM Neuroimaging and Interventional Neuroradiology. Dr. Sabrish S. Dr. Shantakumar S. 1 graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral certificate course in Diagnostic Neuroradiology. Dr. Rengari Aniruddha Purushottam. May I request the Honorable President to award the degrees and certificates to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Professor Sanjeev V. Thomas, Head, Department of Neurology, to present the graduates from his department.
Good evening. I am proud to present the following graduates from the Department of Neurology. 7 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of DM Neurology. Dr. Samya VC, Dr. Pavan Kumar Rudra Bhatla, Dr. Kshitija Jain, Dr. Vaibhav Tandon, Dr. Vijay Kumar B, Dr. Jasper Wali Saik, Dr. Hari Krishnan R. 1 graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship in epilepsy. Dr. Balaji BS. Two graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship in movement disorder. Dr. Sarif Udit Umesh, Dr. Mitesh Chandrana. 1 graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship in stroke. Dr. Sridija Reddy K. May I request the Honorable President to award the degrees and fellowships to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Professor Ishwar HV, Head, Department of Neurosurgery, to present the graduates from his department.
Good evening. I am proud to present the following graduates from the Department of Neurosurgery. 3 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of MCH Neurosurgery after MS. Dr. Savant Ninad Anand, Dr. Shah Shrey Kumar Praveen Chandra, Dr. Patel Biren Kimji. One graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship in cerebrovascular surgery. Dr. Mohammad Amjad Jamaluddin. One graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the postdoctoral fellowship in skull-base neurosurgery. Dr. Ruhil Jaipal Singh Ashok Singh. May I request the Honorable President to award the degrees and fellowships to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Professor Debashish Gupta, Head, Department of Transfusion Medicine, to present the graduate from his department.
Good evening. I am proud to present the following graduate from the Department of Transfusion Medicine. One graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the degree of MD Transfusion Medicine. Dr. Anila Mani. May I request the Honorable President to award the degree to this above graduate. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request Dr. P.V. Mohanan, Associate Dean, PhD Program, to present the graduates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the clinical specialties of the hospital wing of Sree Chitra.
I am proud to present the following graduates from hospital wing, Achutha Center for Health Science Studies and Indian Institute of Information Technology and Management, Kerala. 6 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from Hospital Wing, Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology. Nandini R.J., Ranya Krishnan, Anand C.R., Bhavya Bharathan, Alan Sam Titus, Raji S.R. One graduate has fulfilled the requirements and is found eligible for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from Achutha Menon Center for Health Science Studies, Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology. Shalini Garg. 2 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from Indian Institute of Information Technology and Management, Kerala. Srikant M. Arun K. M. May I request the Honorable President to award the degree to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Hari Krishna Verma, Head, Biomedical Technology Wing, to present the graduates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy and Master of Philosophy from the Biomedical Technology wing of Sree Chitra and MS in Bioengineering from CMC Vellore.
I am proud to present the following graduates from Biomedical Technology wing, Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology, and affiliated programs conducted at CMC Vellore. 12 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from Biomedical Technology wing, Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Science and Technology. Rakhi A. Reshma VG, Rashmi R, Parvati RS, Krishna Priya Chandrababu, Rashmi V Nair, Neelima T, Reshma S, Renu Demesh, Jibin K, Shubha S, Deepa S. 4 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for degree of Master of Philosophy from Biomedical Technology. Neetu RS, Sanjukta Mohan, Rensi Givargis, Maya B. 5 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of Master of Science in Bioengineering from Christian Medical College, Vellore. Kamadam N.A. Trifosa, A. Kirugida, Naveen Prasad R, Sahil Kumar Gera, Timotha Dev. May I request the Honorable President to award the degree to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Professor Shankar Sharma, Head, Achutmenon Center for Health Science Studies, to present the graduates for the degree of Master of Public Health from Achutmenon Center.
Good evening. I am proud to present the following graduates from Achutmenon Center for Health Science Studies, SCTIMST. 23 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of Master of Public Health. Dr. Jigisha Chaudhary, Dr. Durga Patmaja Satyapravina Millaya, Neenumol Kea, Vishaka Andu, Dr. Rohit, Dr. Munshi Rishikesh Subhash, Dr. Rajalakshmi S, Dr. Vanshika Gupta, Dr. Ashta Via, Vishnu Prasad Mahala, Dr. Rosalind Joseph, Dr. Prakash Chandra Bharadwaj, Dr. Belinda Grace Ebenezer, Dr. Rohini C, Dr. Akhil S, Shante Varun Ramesh, Nithar Tangam George, Dr. Aisha Meher Shagufta, Dr. Swati Sharma, Dr. Arati Ajay Kumar, Susanna Chako, Shruti Lekha K, Dr. Ganesh V. May I request the Honorable President to award the degree to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Professor Biju Soman, Associate Dean, Health Sciences, to present the graduates for the degree of Master of Public Health from CMC Vellore, National Institute of Epidemiology, Chennai, and Indian Institute of Public Health, Delhi.
Good evening, all. I am proud to present the following graduates from affiliated programs conducted at Christian Medical College, Vellore, National Institute of Epidemiology, Chennai, and Indian Institute of Public Health, Delhi. 10 graduates have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of Master of Public Health from Christian Medical College, Vellore. Margaret Viola A, Meghul Rana, Sadapti Ra, Solomon De Cruz, Sree Sadapti, Usha M. Khanapur, Wadi Jeevan Kranti Kumar, Mangalam Varada, Ambuja Bajpai, Priyanka Gautam. 10 graduates who have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of Master of Public Health from National Institute of Epidemiology, Chennai. Dr. Porchelvan S, Dr. Manoj Bajaj, Dr. Ravi Varman L, Dr. Ramanathan S, Dr. Kishan Dutt, Dr. Aravind Krishnan M, Dr. Nandakumar N, Dr. Suganya K, Dr. Shankar Prasad S, Dr. Vijay K. 43 graduates who have fulfilled the requirements and are found eligible for the degree of Master of Public Health from Indian Institute of Public Health, Delhi. Angel Bensal, Aishwarya Sharma, Alka Singh, Anamika Chauhan, Anisha Matthew, Ankit Kumar, Anu Sharma, Aisha Alam, Babinsuk Novir, Chandini Chuk, Chaya Kumari, Deepa Kumari, Deepthi Mishra, Dolly Gambhir, Himeli Paul Chowdhury, Favor Rubison Carnival, Isha Vikas Malik, Josna Bedi, Kanipriya Saxena, Kratika Jori, Kritika Sharma, Lada Sree Goswami, Marisha Gandral, Mehnaz Kabir, Neha Tanwar, Nikhila Parikh, Prarthana Mukherjee, Radhika Nair, Radhika Raj Pandita, Rashi Rajesh Sabu, Pratika Bhandari, Ritu Gupta, Shriya Reina, Shruti Chowdhury, Shujita Sharma, Sheda Sharma, Smriti Prajna Panigrahi, Sonal Singh, Stina Kuriakos, Sugandha Lodi, Sodi Bachani, Tania Khanna, Yoshin Sharma. May I request the Honorable President to award the degree to the above graduates. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
May I now request the Honorable President of the Institute, Dr. Vijay Kumar Saraswat, to confer the degrees on the graduates.
Hereby declare that the degrees are conferred to these graduates presented by the heads of the departments.
Thank you, sir. The conferment of the degrees is over. May I now request our Honorable President of the Institute and member of Niti Aayog, Dr. Vijay Kumar Saraswat, to deliver the presidential address.
Good evening, Dr. Samya Swaminathan, Chief Scientist, World Health Organization, Professor K. Jayakumar, Director, Sree Chitra, Tirunal Institute of Medical Science and Technology, Professor K. Mohandas, former Director, SCTIMST, and Founder Vice Chancellor of Kerala University of Health Sciences, other dignitaries, staff, and the students of SCTIMST, and the students who are graduating today, a warm good evening to all of you. As the president of this prestigious institute, it is an honor and privilege for me to be with you today. Our nation has been going through its toughest times due to COVID pandemic. As far as the students who are graduating today are concerned, I know it has been very tough for all of you to maintain a normal course of education and learning throughout the past 1 year. However, you have managed to complete your courses successfully. Congratulations to all on your success. I also remember and would like to congratulate your teachers and mentors who have encouraged and supported you to teach this and reach this stage of receiving your degree. I really appreciate their efforts. With its vision to become a global leader in affordable medical devices development, high-quality patient care, and health science studies, Sree Chitra Institute has been striving to promote research and development in biomedical engineering and technology, delivering high-quality patient care in specialties such as cardiology, cardiac surgery, neurology, neurosurgery, interventional radiology, and their subspecialties. Through its postgraduate training programs in advanced medical specialties and biomedical engineering and technology, the Institute has been generating and supplying quality manpower to our nation. The contributions made by this institute during this COVID time are remarkable. True to the vision of its founding director, Professor M.S. Swaminathan, SCTIMST has been transformed into a unique institution of global importance that blends the practice of modern medicine with relevant research and technology within the same institutional framework. This has been bearing fruits in terms of medical device technologies, competent human resources, and become a blessing to our nation. I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to all frontline healthcare workers battling COVID in the world, and I would like to thank all the physicians and healthcare professionals for their hard work, thoughtfulness, and commitment during these challenging times. Among the heroes who have emerged from this crisis are healthcare professionals who have risked their own health to serve patients. The nation is really indebted to you. Most importantly, I want to reassure you that the decisions that government will have to make in the coming months with regard to the new tests for COVID-19, new therapeutics, and new vaccines will continue to be based on good science and the same careful, deliberative processes which we have always used when reviewing medical products. We can emerge from this emergency only by working together. The lessons learned from the current challenges are likely to have significant impact on the subsequent evolution of healthcare across the globe. Friends, every story has an end, but in life, every end is a new beginning. With huge hopes that the dust soon settles over the ongoing rage of COVID-19 pandemic and the world is back to all its glory and amidst concerns of bringing back the normalcy, it is important to understand that there will be new normals. The cycle of life always brings new normals by virtue of change. We need to learn the lessons and accordingly work towards a better healthcare for future. Healthcare in the post-COVID era seems to evolve and expand new horizons. According to Medical Council of India, medical students will now learn about pandemic management along with its social, legal, and other aspects in the MBBS course, with the India's apex medical education regulator introducing a new module to better prepare doctors for challenges posed by pandemics like COVID-19. This will help in ensuring the creation of an Indian medical graduate who will serve humanity as doctor, leader, and healer in the bleak times such as occurrence of a pandemic. Friends, technology has played an important role in responding to the novel coronavirus, COV2, and subsequently COVID-19 pandemic. The virus's blend of lethality and transmissibility have challenged officials and exposed critical limitations of the traditional public health apparatus. However, throughout this pandemic, technology has answered the call for a new form of public health that illustrates opportunities for enhanced agility, scale, and responsiveness. Technologies like chatbot and virtualized patient care offer a mechanism to trace and distribute care at scale. Artificial intelligence and high-performance computing have accelerated research into understanding the virus and developing targeted therapeutics to treat infection and prevent transmission. New mobile contact tracing protocols that preserve patient privacy and civil liberties were developed in response to public concerns, creating new opportunities for privacy-sensitive technologies that aid efforts to prevent and control outbreaks. While much progress is still needed, the COVID-19 pandemic has highlighted technology's importance to public health, security, and pandemic preparedness. Future multi-stakeholder collaborations, including those with technology organizations, are needed to facilitate progress in overcoming the current pandemic, setting the stage for improved pandemic preparedness in future. Dear graduates, the times ahead are likely to be very challenging, and you need to be prepared with flexibility and adaptability to tackle these challenges. You need to instill hope and joy in the hearts of the people who are suffering. Remember that everyone has a role to play in the current situation. It is my wish that you would be role models applying your knowledge and skills with a vision to alleviate the pain and suffering of the people around. As a doctor with knowledge, perseverance, and passion, you will be the light and the torchbearer and hope givers in your workplaces. I wish you all the very best in all your future endeavors and in your career. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for the inspiring speech. May I now invite our eminent guest of honor, Dr. K. Mohandas, former director, SCTIMST, and the founder, Vice Chancellor, Kerala University of Health Sciences, to kindly address the audience.
President of the Institute, Dr. Saraswat, Director of the Institute, Professor Dr. Jayakumar, Chief Guest, Dr. Samya Swaminathan, Dean and Associate Deans, Dr. Verma, Head of our Biomedical Technology Wing, distinguished members of the faculty, and the VVIPs on this occasion, our proud graduates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasant privilege and honor for me to be invited to speak on this momentous occasion when yet another batch of our graduates have been conferred their degrees, diplomas, and other honors. I wish to place on record my profound gratitude to the director, students, and staff for this kind gesture. I must also commend the dean, associate deans, the registrar, and the staff of the academic and administrative sections for their invaluable contribution to make this function a resounding success. When I joined this institution 4.5 decades ago, in July of 1976, it was a medical center under the state government. Even though all of us carried teaching designations, there were no formal courses then, nor are we permitted to conduct any. Formal courses started in 1982 after the medical center was elevated to the institution of national importance by an act of parliament. The first courses to start were DM and MCH in cardiovascular, thoracic, and neurosciences, as well as postdoctoral certificate courses in cardiovascular and neuroanesthesiology and cardiovascular and neuroradiology. Scholars were also registered in a few selected subjects in science and technology for doctoral programs. Dr. Bhuvaneshwar, who led the team that developed the renowned Chitra heart valve prosthesis, and in due course became the head of our technology wing, was one of the first such scholars. I was the Department of Anesthesiology head at that time. In 1992, I was appointed as the first dean of the institute, and in 1994, I took over from my predecessor, the founding director, Dr. Valiyathai. In due course, several other DM and MCH programs were started beginning in 1995. Many diploma courses in paramedical subjects and cardiovascular and neuro nursing were also begun then. In 1997, the unique master's program in public health, MPH, commenced for the first time in India. Some other public health courses were also started in the off-campus mode at the ICMR institution, the National Institute of Epidemiology at Chennai. In 2006, MTech in Clinical Engineering was begun in collaboration with IIT Madras as a joint degree program, again a first of its kind in our country. I briefly recounted this academic history of our institute to remind all of you the legacy of the institute, the degrees of which you have become the proud flag bearers of on this unforgettable day. Ladies and gentlemen, may I congratulate each and every one of you on your signal achievement. You are going to be the leaders of your respective specialties and healthcare profession as a whole. You will undoubtedly provide succor to millions of the sick and the suffering. You will also train several young and not so young aspiring medical postgraduates in your specialties in the years to come. Some or all of you may also be engaged in research and development, which would help to advance the frontiers of knowledge and expertise in healthcare sciences and practices. Your predecessors included many current and past heads of departments and reputed institutions all over India, an impressive heritage of doctors, scientists, public health specialists, tertiary care nurses, and academic leaders. As leaders of the profession, you may be called upon to help determine the health and development of policies of the country and in designing the architecture of healthcare programs and infrastructure, with special reference to your own specialties. You would therefore be in a position to direct and oversee the health and socio-economic welfare of our country and the community in the fullness of time. As you begin to enjoy a commanding position in the community and the country, may I request you to pay attention to three aspects of human life that your professional experience may be able to influence directly. All of us are aware that not all patients who seek our help can be cured of their ailments, but all can be given succor through care, compassion, and empathy. We also know that prevention is always better than cure. Extending that logic, please attempt to focus on preventive and promotive aspects of healthcare, be it in cardiovascular or neurological diseases, even as you excel in the management of ailments. While it may never be possible to eradicate all diseases, let us strive for a world sans diseases and disabilities that hopefully would help to lead to a healthier, happier, and economically advanced society. I'm sure you will agree that no amount of health or wealth can be sustained without its equitable distribution across ethnic, linguistic, and gender barriers. Healthcare is never sustained at the optimal level if these non-biomedical factors are not taken care of. As you emerge from the portals of this institution, unprecedented challenges are awaiting you, including a raging pandemic. So, my friends, I wish you the very best in your future career and personal lives. May you succeed in your chosen discipline and scale newer heights as the years go by. May you be able to hold the flag of our institute flying high. May the Almighty be with you, helping you and guiding you always. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening speech. May I now request our chief guest, Dr. Samya Swaminathan, Chief Scientist, World Health Organization, former Secretary, Department of Health Research, and former Director General, ICMR, to deliver the convocation address.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
first of all, namaskar to everybody, especially to all the dignitaries. Normally, we will say dignitaries on the dais, but I think this time we have the dignitaries also connected by Zoom. And special greetings, of course, to all those who are graduating today at this convocation and to the very proud parents. So, respected President, Dr. V.K. Saraswat ji, respected Dr. Mohan Das, the former director of the Institute, Dr. Keshav Das, the acting dean, faculty, parents, and students. So it's a great pleasure and an honor for me to share a few thoughts with you today at the annual convocation of the Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology. I still recall with great pleasure my visit to the Institute many years ago when I was the Director General of the Indian Council of Medical Research and Secretary in the Department of Health Research. And I was so impressed with the work, of course, that's been done at the Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute, particularly in the area of health, in the area of biomedical devices and the development, but also in looking at cross-cutting areas like the role of Ayurveda and yoga in the rehabilitation of patients with stroke and other neurological diseases. It's an institute which is relatively young, but very, very dynamic with a lot of achievements already, but also a very bright future to look forward to. We are, of course, all in this very unusual situation of and very unfortunate situation of being in a pandemic. And I would like to share some of my thoughts with you about, particularly about the lessons that we have learned and why it is important for us all to focus on the health of people and what can we do concretely really to make sure that, first of all, that a pandemic like this never happens again. But if it does, how best do we as India, but also as a world, react to it? So the first thing is that pandemics will have always been there in the past and will probably continue. I don't think that human beings have the power to stop the emergence of new microbes and pathogens. We know that most of the major epidemics in the past 50 years have arisen from zoonotic diseases. So these are viruses mostly that are present in animals or birds or bats that don't cause the severe illness in that species, but given the right circumstances, they are able to jump species and enter the human species. And sometimes they are able to change in a way that they become pathogenic and cause disease, either mild or severe disease. We have seen examples like Ebola, like Zika, like HIV, like the various kinds of avian flu. And now, of course, we're seeing the coronaviruses, the SARS-CoV virus, which was first detected in 2003. Then we had the Middle East coronavirus, the MERS-CoV, which was detected in the Middle East. Of course, there the intermediate animal is camels. And now we have the SARS-CoV-2 virus, where we still don't know the exact pathway of how that virus was able to move from the animal species to the humans. There are different hypotheses proposed. There are which need to be confirmed or proved or disproved. Direct jump from bats to human is not very likely because the homology between the genome sequences of the bat coronavirus and the human SARS-CoV-2, there's only about an 86% or so homology. Then there are other animals proposed as intermediate, like in the case of the SARS-1, it was the civet cat. In this case, pangolins have been proposed, other animals have been proposed, and we know now that many animals can get infected with this virus. And we have seen in the ferrets, for example, that it can go back and forth between human to animal to human. And that is a slightly worrying when a virus is able to do that, because it means it can keep on changing. But what are the main underlying factors that zoonotic diseases and epidemics seem to be increasing in frequency in the last 50 years compared to the previous history? I think it's because of our interactions with planet Earth, the environment, and other species that cohabit with us on this planet. Human beings, we tend to think that we are superior species, that we are more intelligent, that we can dominate the world, can manipulate at our will, and that everything is in our control. Well, we have seen now, much to the losses that we are suffering, that this is not the case, that when we interfere with the forest, when we interfere with biodiversity, when we have illegal wildlife trade, when we overuse the environment, we cut down our forests for so-called development, we are removing the natural habitat of many other species, then we are increasing the chances of this type of event happening, because you are bringing closer and closer together different animal species, both wild and domesticated, and human beings. We need to think about this very carefully, because it is in our hands. And when we think about what we are doing to our seas, the amount of plastic that we are throwing into our seas, what we are doing to the air, the amount of pollution we are throwing into our air, what are we doing to our water, natural sources of water are all getting polluted and contaminated. What are we doing to our forests? What are the number of species that go extinct every year? The IUCN puts out a red list of species that is accelerating. More and more species are dying out every year than ever before in the past. And soon we will be in a situation of no return. The science behind climate change is very real. And it shows us that unless we act today, it's not going to be possible to reverse a lot of the damage that has taken place. And all around us, we see the natural calamities, the weather calamities, the unseasonal rain and the unseasonal forest fires and the unseasonal cyclones that happen in different parts of the world. You have Europe, which was having a very cold winter this year. And at the same time, you had forest fires ranging in Antarctica, ranging in Siberia. And we hear about all of the melting glaciers and the ice. So it may not be visible in front of our eyes on a day-to-day basis, but it is our actions. And it is you young people who can make a difference in the future. And it is young people all over the world who are actually standing up and saying, we want to change. And they're challenging the older generation. They're challenging all of us to say, you have failed us. And we want a better future, a better planet, not just for humans, but for all. It doesn't matter in which discipline of science you work or which discipline of social science you graduate, because every discipline is interrelated and in some way connected to our future and to the future of our Earth. And you can contribute, whether you're a historian or a social scientist or a biomedical engineer or a doctor or a nurse. It is possible to contribute through your own actions and by making people aware. And one of the great things about education, of course, is that it gives you a balanced view of things. A well-rounded education offers you the opportunity to be analytical, to be rational. And that's what we mean by scientific literacy. When you talk about a population, you talk about scientific literacy or health literacy, it doesn't mean that everybody has to be a graduate in science. What it means is that you have enough exposure and knowledge during your school and college days that you're able to evaluate for yourself whether something is true or not, and whether it is plausible or not, and whether it should be believable or not. and what you need in terms of evidence in order to believe something. And it's particularly now relevant for us during this pandemic, as we see the role of misinformation and disinformation. In fact, the WHO coined the term infodemic, because along with the pandemic came an overload of information. A lot of it was good information, was credible information, necessary, but a lot of it was misinformation, and sometimes it was willful disinformation, conspiracy theories and others, which spread rapidly through social media platforms. So we have been working with many of the social media platforms to engage them, and through them engage populations, young people around the world, to inform them, to take them to credible sources, whether it's a government source of information or it's organizations like, the WHO or other public health agencies in different countries, rather than go into the anti-science, anti-vaccine type of websites, which are peddling a lot of misinformation these days. And it is done so skillfully that it's very easy to convince people. Today, on the one hand, we have, this massive drive to vaccinate everyone against COVID-19. And on the other hand, we are facing a vaccine hesitancy in many countries, which is leading to, which will impact our overall goal of vaccinating 70-80% of the population to achieve herd immunity. So it's not, for me, what really comes out very strong is that the science alone is not enough. The science is important, and science has delivered for us in this pandemic. If you look at the advances that have been made in such a short period of time, whether it's the development of new personal protective equipment, whether it's the development of diagnostics and reagents, whether it is the development of vaccines, the science has, and the investments made in science over the last few decades have paid their dividends now by giving us the tools that we need today to control the pandemic. So what is a missing ingredient then? If we have all the tools today in our hands, and yet we're not able to really handle it, it basically boils down to a couple of things. The first thing is that you need a science-based leadership and policy. You need evidence-based guidelines. You need to be adaptable. You need to be reviewing the evidence as it emerges, because in something so dynamic as a pandemic, what is true today is overcome by the new data which emerges, and you need to update yourself the next day. The second is that we need very good communication and community engagement. Without communities being involved and engaged, one cannot bring about large-scale behavior change. And as you know, one of the tools we have to fight this before we have vaccines for everybody is behavior change. You have to wear a mask, you have to maintain a distance, you have to avoid crowds, you have to be in well-ventilated places, all of the things which require an individual behavior change. And we know how difficult that is. If you think about yourself and some of the habits we have, how difficult it is to change when somebody tells you to change. So it can only happen when the public, when the community is involved, is engaged, is empowered. And the third, we need to have a very compassionate and a humble approach, especially when we are dealing with a virus or something which is really beyond, our control at many times. The impact that this has had on people has deepened and widened the inequities of society. So every society has inequities, and you see in every country in the world, the pandemic has affected those who are already marginalized and vulnerable, and at the bottom of the socioeconomic scale, it has impacted them disproportionately. Whether you take children's education, people who have access to online education have been relatively better off, though children need to be together. So it's not that they've had a very satisfying experience, but at least they've been able to keep up. What about the hundreds of millions of children globally who have no access to online education, who live in countries or who belong to sections of society who do not have that access? What is going to be their future after so many years of interruption in their education? What about nutrition for those who are most vulnerable, who lost their livelihoods, who got pushed into poverty, who do not have access? People like us can isolate at home. We can do our work through these kind of online platforms, but there are many who cannot. And we need to think about those. So again, as people who are graduating today, you need to be optimistic about the future. You have a lot of possibilities, things that probably we did not have when we were graduating. Our options were not that big. The world was not so connected. Science and technology were not so advanced. So it is an incredible world that you can look forward to. But at the same time, it's a world with a lot of inequities and inequalities which need to be addressed, because just like climate change is a huge existential threat, this could also become one, and it can be addressed through the right kind of policies in place. Science is really what can help mankind in the future, but everything that is an advance in science and technology also sometimes has a downside, or it could have some risks. And so this is why, through the WHO's new science division, we are focusing on some of the emerging technological advances, which can have a huge impact on public health, but at the same time, which can also have social, economic, ethical, and legal implications. A good example is the use of artificial intelligence, which has now, of course, been widely promoted and used in many different areas. But when it comes to health, artificial intelligence algorithms are being used, for example, to identify, where there are clusters of cases in the pandemic. They're being used to identify, people's movements and behaviors. They're being used in diagnostic algorithms, for example, AI-based X-ray reading, chest X-ray reading, or reading of other diagnostics, in many applications. So digital tools and technologies have really advanced. We've seen that in the pandemic, and in fact, it's a very good thing, because it is one of those enablers which can help you to do your work better. But at the same time, it has to be tested, just like we test drugs and vaccines in clinical trials. Technologies and tools, digital technologies and tools also need to be tested before they are scaled up, because ultimately, what do we want? We want better outcomes. We want better health outcomes or other kinds of outcomes, economic outcomes. And so if we can employ technologies which can help, and India has done a lot in this field in the last few years, we can do even more. A good example is, I have seen in some places, the Arvind Eye Hospital in Pondicherry, for example, this whole concept of shared care. As you know, we have a shortage of doctors and specialists in our country, particularly take a specialist like, diabetologist, or take an ophthalmologist, or take a mental health, a psychiatrist. We have very few, not enough for the population. How do we manage? How do we connect people to get the best advice on their health? And at the same time, we do not have specialists, especially in the rural areas. So this is where digital technology can help. Telemedicine, telehealth, the eSanjeevani platform that the government has set up really can be used as an excellent platform for providing specialist care in villages, in communities where it doesn't exist. And this can be done just like we're doing now, in a shared way. So let's say I have diabetes and there are 15 other people in my village or in my neighborhood also have diabetes. We could all connect together to the doctor, to the specialist, and have a consultation, because there is no confidentiality issue here. I'm willing to share that, I have diabetes and I have questions that I would like to ask the specialist. And so do the others. And we learn together. When I am asking a question and the doctor is answering, the others are listening and they're learning, and so on and so forth. This has been tested for glaucoma and at the Arvind Eye Hospital, and it was found the outcomes of glaucoma management were actually better when this type of shared care was done rather than a one-to-one consultation with the doctor. So I think there are opportunities to test some of these ideas now, but they need to be tested. So that's where the Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute and all of you come in, because you need to be providing the evidence and the rationale and the data for decision making. Very often we are jumping into decision making without the evidence, and that needs to be bolstered. It needs to be strengthened by having a good community of people out there who understand data, who understand how evidence-based decisions can be made. Similarly, we have new technologies like gene editing. Gene editing can be used to cure some diseases potentially heritable genetic diseases like thalassemia and sickle cell anemia, because now you have a very sensitive way of manipulating the somatic genome, and you can just edit the particular gene, the sequences, you can cut it out, you can replace it using the gene editing technology, which, as you know, won the Nobel Prize last year. Two women scientists, Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuel Charpentier, won the Nobel Prize for their work on gene editing. But gene editing, if it is applied in the wrong way, can also raise a lot of ethical issues. In fact, there was an instance a few years ago where a Chinese scientist tried to do the genome editing, or he actually did the editing of fetuses so as to make them not susceptible to HIV infection. Now, so it was not a genetic disease that he was curing. He was trying to introduce some trait to make them resistant to HIV, but we don't know what are the implications of doing that, particularly when you interfere with the germline. Then it becomes a transmissible change that you have made, and you're going to impact not just that individual, but also the future generations of that individual. And that is something that has huge ethical and social implications that need to be discussed. So we are working on a governance framework. How can countries regulate genome editing? We don't want to stop research or science. Science has to carry on. Research must be done under properly controlled conditions with the right kinds of ethics approvals and other kind of regulatory approvals. And again, the pandemic has brought out the real need for having a very good and strong regulatory system. It is so important to have a very transparent, functional, science-based regulatory system, whether it's the approval of diagnostics or it's approval of vaccines or drugs. It needs to be based on the highest scrutiny, independence, no conflicts of interest. That's the kind of regulator you need, who is a top level, a well-respected scientist. So strengthening of institutions is extremely important. Strengthening our medical colleges so they can do more research. More Sree Chitra Tirunals institutes to be set up so that you can produce the kind of graduates that you're producing now. Investment in public health institutions and laboratories. We need one strong public health institute and a public health cadre in every state that is then connected to the National Center for Disease Control, the NCDC, so that surveillance and response and prevention of both communicable and non-communicable diseases can happen in a very systematic way. You need a strong regulatory system. You need a strong research body. You need strong science and technology institutions. We have many of them in India. We're lucky that we have a lot of these institutions. We need to further strengthen, further empower, and perhaps create new ones where there is a gap. So the lessons, I think, from the pandemic for us are both the need for strengthening science and public health, but also the need for primary health care, for really strengthening our primary health care system, which some states have done very successfully, including the state where you are located. Learn the lessons, apply them in other places. We should not forget. The world has forgotten previous pandemics. We have forgotten the lessons learned. Many reports are written, many articles are written, many commitments are made, but then the world forgets about it. This time, we are hoping that this will not happen, that everyone has suffered so much that we should react through global collaboration, global solidarity. We've seen that no nation is an island in itself. Nobody can live in an isolated world anymore, in a country, isolated country. We are all part of one world. We are all part of the air, the water, the environment are all shared and belong to everyone across the world. And we all have a responsibility and a stake in protecting that. I would really like to wish all of you, congratulate you, wish you the really very best for your future. You need to be bold, you need to be optimistic, you need to follow your dreams and follow your hearts in addition to following your mind. If you have a passion, go ahead and do it. I've learned from my own life that one should not be looking for returns at every step in your career. You need to get into something that you really find interesting, that you feel passionate about, that you want to do. And ultimately, if you do that and you work in that area, then the rewards will come automatically. And in science, sometimes you have to wait for a long time. In research, you may not always be successful, and you shouldn't get disheartened. You know that mRNA technology was started by scientists 30 years ago, when nobody ever thought that mRNA could be used for anything. And there were so many challenges. So there's a beautiful story that's written about these two scientists who started off at the University of Pennsylvania on mRNA research. And this woman scientist, who was of, I think, of Polish or Hungarian origin, was rejected in all of her grant proposals. And to the point where the university, asked her to leave, because in the US, the system is different. You have to bring in your own research grants. Her colleague, who was a man, continued, but her career was disrupted. But she continued to persevere. She believed in mRNA. Today, the mRNA technology, has literally saved the world by creating new generation of vaccines. And it's possible now to use that technology not only for COVID, but for many other diseases. Vaccines against TB, maybe we could finally have a good vaccine against TB, monoclonal antibodies against cancer, many applications. So basic science, leads to applications 30 years later, which you can't predict. So one has to invest at that time. As I said, you have to follow your passion. This lady followed her passion. Today, she's very famous and everyone talks about her. She's the vice president of BioNTech, the company that made the BioNTech Pfizer vaccine, Katalin Kariko. But for 30 years, nobody knew of her or gave her any special status, but she persevered. So I think perseverance, following your dreams and your passion, having a good peer support group, having role models and mentors is really important as you launch into your careers today. I really wish that you will all have very satisfying years ahead of you, both in your personal and your professional lives. And I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Madam, for your inspiring words.
May I now invite Dr. Avinash Mani, who just received his degree, to address the audience on behalf of the new graduates.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, respected teachers, and all my dear colleagues. It is an honor and privilege for me at this occasion to represent the student community of this institute, sharing our experiences with you. The place where we stand today, the Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute for Medical Sciences and Technology, has been our home for the past few years. This institute took us under its wings, nurtured us into better professionals. Not only that, the work ethos which prevails in this institute has always taught us to uphold the integrity of our profession. We know that SCTIMST has a unique combination of tertiary care, biomedical technology research, and health science training. The current era, no doubt, has taught us the relevance of them remaining in sync with each other. Undoubtedly, this unique combination has helped in all-round development of generations of its students, including us. Right from the ancient times, gurus have been revered utmost in our country. As the old saying goes, Acharya Padamadate. One gains a quarter of one's knowledge from teachers. Teachers are the building blocks of our education. If I may quote, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, whereas the great teacher inspires. Therein lies the true essence of a teacher. They ignite the passion within us. They teach us the value of hard work and perseverance. We all are grateful to have been blessed by such great teachers at this institute who have constantly inspired and guided us at each and every step. They have left a lasting impression on our personality, something which we aim to carry forward with utmost pride. A congenial working atmosphere is very important for achieving one's goal. We have been lucky to get such an environment at this institute. The motto of teamwork has always been emphasized here. It is the joint effort of doctors, nurses, and other staff which makes good patient care possible. At this occasion, I would like to thank all paramedical and other staff at Sree Chitra too. It is this combined effort and support which brings out the best in us. Perhaps this is one of the greatest learning which we will carry forward in our future. We indeed have been lucky enough to spend a few years in God's own country. As we know, Kerala, the land of Adi Shankara, has a rich academic and cultural heritage. Not only that, the natural beauty which prevails here is mesmerizing, to say the least. It is indeed a heaven on earth. Our journey at Sree Chitra has given us the opportunity to interact and work with people from all corners of the country, and it has truly been an incredible experience. Such a momentous occasion cannot go by without expressing our gratitude to our parents. It is their love and care which have shaped us into our current selves. We will remain in their debt forever. As we all know, we are in the midst of a gruesome pandemic, a pandemic which has left no one untouched. It is in such dark times that we need to work together, spreading the ray of hope everywhere. If I may quote the first few lines of the famous novel, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Let me modify it a bit. Wish that an age of wisdom, a season of light, and a spring of hope await us in the months to come. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that it has been a privilege and real honor to be part of this huge Chitra family. We hope to carry forward the Chitra colors with utmost pride and respect. May we always bring glory to our institution, wherever we are and whatever we do. Long live our alma mater. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamsoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritgamaya. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Avinash Mani, for sharing the collective thoughts on behalf of all new graduates.
I now invite Professor C. Keshavdas, Dean of Academic Affairs in charge, to propose the vote of thanks.
Honorable President of the Institute, Dr. V.K. Saraswat, our Chief Guest, Dr. Samya Swaminathan, Eminent Guest of Honor, Dr. K. Mohandas, our Director, Professor Jayakumar, Head BMT Wing, Dr. Harikrishna Verma, Associate Deans, all heads of departments, faculty, and staff, distinguished guests, our graduates and their families, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of our Dean, Professor Ajit Kumar, who has expressed his inability to attend the convocation. We are gathered here online on the occasion of the 37th graduation ceremony of Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences to celebrate the gift of wisdom. It is for the first time the Institute is hosting the convocation online due to obvious reasons. 162 graduates had their degrees conferred on them by one of the most eminent personalities in India, Dr. Vijay Kumar Saraswat, the president of our institute and the recipient of Padma Bhushan Award. On behalf of all the students, their families, and the whole institute, sir, it is my privilege to thank you wholeheartedly. Dr. Samya Swaminathan, in spite of her busy schedule during the pandemic, as Chief Scientist of the World Health Organization, kindly consented to attend the convocation. Dear Madam, on behalf of the whole institute and the graduating class of students, let me thank you for joining us and gracing this occasion today as the chief guest and for sharing with us your invaluable thoughts. Professor K. Mohandas is our former director and professor and head of Department of Anesthesiology. To many of us here, he is a guide and a mentor. We always remember with gratitude your contributions to this institute. Dear sir, it is an honor to thank you on behalf of the institute and the students for agreeing to be the guest of honor of this function. Our director, Professor Jayakumar, has been leading us from the front ever since he took charge of the institute. For this function also, he has been instrumental in giving us all the support and encouragement for making this function a big success. Sir, we thank you from the bottom of the heart for all your support. If we look back, we can see that there is a long and winding pathway that led to this graduation. All the graduates had to accomplish a great deal to arrive at this moment. It is important to stress at the outset that these accomplishments, however heroic, are not those of our graduates alone. Behind each and every one of our graduates is a story of family and friends, of parents who nourished and sacrificed, who hovered and let go, of grandparents, uncles, and aunts who supported and sustained them, of brothers, sisters, cousins, and friends who stood by them and with them, of partners, spouses, children, and other loved ones who strengthened and inspired them. As Associate Dean of the Institute, and on the behalf of our Dean, I want to wholeheartedly pay my respects to all these people on this solemn occasion. Students, a few years ago, when you made the decision to attend this prestigious institute, you were also making a decision to trust us, the faculty and the staff that make up the Chitra family. It has been their responsibility to guide and educate you quietly and diligently with utmost dedication. They have offered you their passion for the subject which you have mastered in. In that process, they have forever altered the horizons in which you shall sail forward into your life. In the same breath, we cannot forget the hard work of all the supporting staff who worked every day to execute and improve on the way we administer this program. To all these individuals, please join me in saying a big thanks. My dear students, as you bid farewell to us, I can only hope you remember your time at Chitra with fond memories. I hope we as faculty and staff have been able to add value to your lives and further your career as you take on the mantle of being the next generation of doctors, clinicians, scientists, and public health planners who will lead their respective fields not only here in India, but hopefully across the world. I want to thank you for choosing to be with us during your time here and for embracing the values of this program and of this institute wholeheartedly. We are proud of you and you deserve it. Finally, let me thank all our guests, VIPs, and our retired faculty members who are witnessing this program online. Last but not the least, let me express my gratitude to all the faculty, academic division, computer division, medical illustration, and other staff and students, including all the volunteers who took concerted efforts to make this convocation an occasion to cherish. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. It is now time to close the function. May I request our esteemed President of the Institute, Dr. Vijay Kumar Saraswat, to declare the convocation ceremony formally closed.
Now declare the annual convocation of the 37th batch of Sree Chitra Tirunal Institute of Medical Sciences and Technology closed.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the function. On behalf of the Institute, we would like to congratulate all the new graduates and wish them the very best in their future endeavors. Have a pleasant